Greetings to all of you. In this video, I want to discuss the powerful energies of the upcoming partial solar eclipse and new moon on September 21st, followed the next day, September 22nd, by the energies of the equinox, the fall equinox here in the northern hemisphere, the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere. Remember that the equinox is a powerful portal time. Along the equinoxes, along with the solstices, are times where the earth energy ley lines are activated more intensely. They're portals for powerful energies coming to us here on the earth. And the equinoxes in particular are about coming back into balance. We experience on the earth the balance of the light and dark at those times. So I think it's very significant that these events are back to back here on September 21st and September 22nd. But let me show you the chart of the partial solar eclipse and what its energies are about. On September 21st, the new moon partial solar eclipse, and that partial solar eclipse will be visible primarily in New Zealand, Australia, Antarctica, some of the South Pacific Islands. It won't be visible in most of the world, but remember that these eclipses are powerful times of activation. I see them as wake-up calls for all of us. So we experience their energies even if we're not able to visibly see the eclipse. And remember that eclipses are when the sun and moon are in alignment, either at the new moon or the full moon, close to the lunar nodes. And the lunar nodes are speaking to what karmically are we needing to focus on, put our energy towards. What are the themes that are being activated for us in these powerful times? So the eclipses are calling our attention to these karmic energies that we're needing to attend to. And at this time, the south node is at 18 degrees of Virgo, opposite the north node at 18 degrees of Pisces. And I believe these lunar nodes are guiding us to heal and be aware of how we are manifesting our actions and our lives on the earth plane, south node in Virgo, to be moving in these new directions that are about claiming the gifts of the age of Pisces as we're moving into the transition into the Aquarian age, but also how are we honoring our spiritual nature, moving into higher consciousness, beginning to honor and remember the oneness of all that is and our connection with cosmic consciousness. So this new moon is within 9 degrees of these lunar nodes and is at 29 degrees of Virgo. And let me read you the meaning of that degree. And this time I'm going to be sharing with you the meaning from the Chandra symbols by Elias Lonsdale, who based his understanding of these degrees of the zodiac on the work of Rudyard and others interpreting the Sabian symbols. But he also was tuning in intuitively and through channeling with his wife to attune to what these energies may be about for us. And here is the meaning of 29 degrees of Virgo. The original image was supernatural beings appearing as geometric forms. Supernatural beings appearing as geometric forms, which is about sacred geometry and how it inscribes the pattern of the world going through its great shifts. If you learn to stand back and be within the greater archetypal motions, you find yourself being placed in perfect strategic positions in exquisitely rightful initiations and assignments. What does that mean? We are now discovering through the work of Ibrahim Karim and biogeometry that ancient cultures understood sacred geometry in a profoundly deep way. It's in the temple designs done in ancient Egypt. It's in the quality of energies around us. Part of what he's uncovered in integrating ancient Egyptian temple science with modern understandings of science is the energy of the center, what he calls the energy of BG3, biogeometry 3, which relates to these energies that emanate source field consciousness, the energies of love, of healing, of higher consciousness, of source. And part of why I love to recommend doing the medicine wheel and the medicine wheel meditation is when we come to center in that medicine wheel, we are in that energy of source field intelligence, that energy of cosmic consciousness. When we connect to our hearts, that center chakra in our energy field, we're connecting to source field intelligence and higher consciousness. So this new moon is calling us to remember the meaning of sacred geometry, these energies within us, all around us that are guiding us to remember that ancient wisdom and to step into alignment with these energies of higher consciousness, to be moving through this transition time, to be honoring the profound shifts that we're in, and paying attention to the synchronicities and the guidance that we're getting to be on our own path of initiation, healing, and transformation. And it's extraordinary that this new moon solar eclipse is a part of a grand trine. It's an out of sign grand trine because the sun and moon are at 29 degrees of Virgo, but they are trining Uranus at 1 degree of Gemini and Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius. And remember that Pluto and Uranus are in a trine with each other. And this is actually a kite because opposite the sun and moon is that conjunction of Saturn now retrograde in Pisces and Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries. It soon will be moving back into Pisces also. And then Saturn and Neptune will be back retrograde in Pisces until they move back, both move fully back into Aries in February when they come into exact conjunction on February 20th, 2026. And again, this combination of Saturn and Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries is about integrating science and spirituality, moving into new forms, new paradigms, new ways of being. So this new moon and partial solar eclipse is calling attention to the powerful energies of these outer transpersonal planets, which are in such an extraordinary configuration with each other, as I've talked about in earlier videos, with their sextiling each other, with their focal point being the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. But these outermost planets are guiding us in this transformational time as they're collaborating with each other, being in these energies of sextiles and trines, with Uranus and Sedna in Gemini, calling us into truth. Sedna, the messenger of this critical time in the precessional cycle. Pluto in Aquarius move into the Aquarian paradigms, these new ways of thinking and seeing and being, again with the focus on moving into new forms, new ways of being within ourselves, Aries, new ways of being and new paradigms on the planet. And remember that as Saturn and Neptune go into exact conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries on February 20th, 2026, the meaning of that Sabian symbol is a woman rises from the ocean and a seal rises up and embraces her. I also see the energies of this conjunction being very much about the return of our connection to the sacred feminine wisdom to come back into balance. Libra, the sign opposite Aries, to move into new forms and new ways of being. It's also interesting in highlighting those energies of the sacred feminine that Venus is in a yod with Pluto and Neptune and is squaring Uranus. So Venus, which continues to be a morning star, is guiding us to look at how we are in relationship with ourselves, with each other, to have it be about moving into these new forms and new ways of being. And the meaning of 2 degrees of Virgo, the image in the Chandra symbols is a woman doing delicate embroidery, painstaking labors in several different planes of existence, the mind being restrung slowly and systematically, and by erosion of what was assumed or taken as a given. Multiple worlds crying out for refinement, repair, repolarization, and release. Again, it's about being in this profound transition time that is calling us to change how we are in relationship with ourselves and all that is, calling us to be working on these different dimensional planes, to be in this time of transition and transformation, to be releasing the paradigms of the past, the old ways of being in relationship, which have been about separation, disconnection, polarization, discord, to be guided into these new forms and ways of being that are about truth and justice and harmony and coming back into right relationship with the earth and sky and all that is. We also have Pluto in and out of sign square with Mars at the time of this new moon. And remember that Mars is about our actions, our will, our self-expression. It's at 29 degrees of Libra now. How are we in this transition time? Remember that the 29th degree is, from my perspective, the shamanic degree, changing form, being in transition. This new moon is about being in this liminal time, this shamanic time of transition and transformation. Mars is being transformed and being radically transmuted, and in this time of transformation with Pluto guiding our actions, our will to be in alignment with the will of cosmic consciousness, with that remembrance that we are interconnected with all that is. It's also in its own yod in connection with Neptune and Uranus, and in and out of sign sextile with Venus. So our relationships, our actions, our connections to the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine are all in this cauldron of transformation as we're in this incredible time of transition. As we move then into the energies of the equinox, it is continuing to hold these energies that we see from the new moon, partial solar eclipse. But now the moon has transitioned into Libra and will be at 10 degrees of Libra. Mars has now transitioned into Scorpio and will be in an even more powerful square with Pluto. But the moon at 10 degrees of Libra at the time of the equinox is calling our attention to what it means to come back into right balance, right harmony, Libra. And it's now in an even more potent grand trine with Uranus and Pluto and opposition with Neptune in particular. Activating these energies of transition, transformation, guiding us back into harmony, back into balance. And here is the meaning of 10 degrees of Libra in the Chandra symbols. The images, tea leaves that form a pentagram, opening to a new destiny with spiritual protection and guidance, encouragement and empowerment. The pentagram is a 5-pointed star. It's actually one of the symbols of Venus because of its cycle of where it emerges when it rises as a morning star 5 times across an 8-year period. So again, the moon is calling our attention to this being a time of moving into new ways of being, into a new destiny on the planet, and reclaiming the wisdom of the sacred feminine in order to come back into harmony and balance. Let's look now at where these energies are in the sky at the time of this new moon, partial solar eclipse, and equinox. It's quite extraordinary at the time of this eclipse and new moon. The sun and moon are conjunct here in the stars of the harvest goddess, in the wing of the harvest goddess. And Mercury and Mars are also here in the stars of Virgo. Remember, the harvest goddess is this image of how do we connect with and honor the energies of the sacred feminine? How do we honor the earth and her gifts to us? How do we bring our spiritual consciousness into how we live our day-to-day lives and manifest our lives on the earth plane? But the meaning of the wing of the harvest goddess is again about being in this shamanic liminal transition time. It's often viewed as that transition from the spirit realm into form. So the themes of this new moon and this equinox are about how we're in this profound shift, this profound time of transformation, being guided into new forms and how we'll manifest who we are physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically on the earth plane. And Mercury is there, shaping how we think and see the world and perceive things around us. It's very significant that Mars, in its square with Pluto, is here close to the star Spica, which is the sheaf of wheat in the hand of the harvest goddess, and is about how are we, Mars, bringing our actions into the world to be of service to others, to be nurturing and supportive of others, Spica. I find it extraordinary in that I've been doing visual astrology for years now, that at the time of this new moon and equinox, all of the personal planets in particular are in significant placements in the sky. So we have the sun, moon, Mercury, Mars, all here in the stars of Virgo, calling our attention to the stars of Virgo. It's also extraordinary that right now, as I'm doing this video, that comet 3I Atlas that's speeding its way through our solar system in close alignment with the ecliptic, that is powerfully acting as a celestial messenger and wake up call for us, is speeding through the stars of Virgo. It's also amazing that on September 11th, a new comet was discovered in our solar system, Swan 25b, which has also been identified in the stars of Virgo. So our attention is being drawn to these stars and to our guidance to remember this energy of the harvest goddess, of the wisdom of the sacred feminine that's guiding us to look at how are we living our lives, how we manifest our actions on the earth plane. Venus, the morning star that's in that powerful yod, is right here, conjunct Regulus. How are we moving into these new ways of being in relationship? Coming from our hearts with courage. Jupiter is here in the stars of Gemini. And remember, I told you that it's going to be moving back and forth this year through the stars of Gemini as it goes direct and then retrograde. But right now, at the time of this new moon, it's conjunct the star Wasset, which is known as the shamanic star in the constellation of Gemini, that energy of being between the worlds. So Jupiter is also guiding us in how to have faith, how to have trust that we're in this profound shift and transition time. Uranus is in the sky close to the stars of the Pleiades and close to Aldebaran, guiding us to live with integrity, to know that we're being supported by the energies of the Pleiades and star systems to be moving through this transition time. Saturn and Neptune are still under the stars of Pisces in that part of the sky called the deep waters of the sky, guiding us to remember the wisdom of the waters, to honor the waters of our earth and the waters of the life-giving, living wisdom coming to us from the stars of Aquarius, guiding us through this time of transformation. And Pluto is between the stars of Sagittarius and Capricornus in alignment with the star Altar here in Aquila, that eagle that is guiding us to see the larger vision, to see what we're moving towards, to trust in what's unfolding. And Altair is the eye of the eagle. So all the planets are in these very significant placements in the sky, showing us how we are supported in moving through this profound time of shift and change on the planet. So as you approach this powerful portal time of this new moon and the equinox, I encourage you to meditate, to do the medicine wheel meditation, to come to center, to honor how you can be in alignment with these energies of sacred geometry, these energies that connect us to the core of the earth, to the center of our galaxy, to our hearts, our center chakra, to be grounded and in alignment in this turbulent time of change. But to know that these energies of these planets in the sky and the sun and moon are saying you're being supported, you're being guided, you're being held. And we're being guided by synchronicities. We're being guided by the energies that are supporting us to trust in the shifts that are unfolding, in this new birth that's happening as we're experiencing the solar energies coming to our planet, the galactic energies that are shifting our DNA, are expanding our pineal glands, are supporting us to shift into new ways of seeing and thinking, of being in relationship, of acting. And how extraordinary is it that 3i Atlas and this new comet, Swan 25b, are focusing their attention on Virgo, which again, I think is calling us to be reintegrating, reclaiming the energies of the ancient sacred feminine wisdom that have been suppressed and devalued across these past 5,000 years of the patriarchal period. It's in that patriarchal period that we've been in the Kali Yuga, in our lowest level of consciousness, and gotten caught in those illusions of separation, discord, disharmony, violence, war, genocide, abuse, polarization. It is time for us collectively to wake up and heal and transform, to remember who we truly are, soul selves having this human experience, to wake up and see each other differently, to see our interconnectedness with all of life, to relate to the earth and the life forms of our planet differently, to honor the consciousness of water and the energies, the sacred energies that surround us and are in all the plants, animals, elements, and energies of our experience here on the earth plane. These energies are calling us to wake up and realize that our emotions, our energies, what we emanate into the morphogenic field affects our weather, affects our psyches, affects our health, affects the health of the planet. And we have the capacity to allow these energies of the cosmos to move, to be in us and move through us, to emanate these energies of healing and higher consciousness into the morphogenic field, to support our healing and our healing relationship with the earth. We're experiencing so much trauma and turmoil on the planet right now as we exit the Kali Yuga, as we're purging our out of balance patterns from the past. And we're seeing violence and war and genocide and abuse and misuse of our resources and conflict and polarization between ourselves and trauma all over the globe. And I think the energies in Virgo are calling us to heal, to remember these energies of the sacred feminine that call us back in to balance and harmony, and the energies of Virgo that say how you act on the earth plane matters. Mars conjunct Spica. Let your actions be of service and nurturing to others, not traumatizing or violent or caught in conflict, destruction, discord. Let your energies and actions be transformed by Pluto to be back in alignment with the will of cosmic consciousness, which is that we be in this time of transition and transformation to move into new forms and new ways of being, to be able to be in that joy and love and harmony that comes from remembering who we are and our oneness with all that is, and our capacity then, as Quawar guides us, to sing with the music of the spheres and to be in that energy of harmony, that energy of sacred geometry, that energy of the pentagram, of balance and harmony of Venus, who is the ruler of Libra, about being in right balance and right relationship with all that is. How extraordinary that this new moon, solar eclipse, and equinox are all in those energies of these transpersonal planets saying, set yourself free from the out of balance patterns of the past. Uranus in Gemini. See the truth. Come back into alignment with divine mind and divine consciousness. Remember that the outermost planets are all the higher octaves of Mercury, Venus, Mars, Uranus, the higher octave of Mercury, Neptune, the higher octave of Venus. How are we reclaiming that energy of divine love, of coming from our hearts to emanate that energy of unconditional love? And Pluto, how are we transforming our will to be in alignment with divine will, with cosmic consciousness? Again, I encourage you to do that planetary meditation with the transpersonal planets to work with how we can be changing our relationships with our third chakra, Mars, transformed by Pluto, our hearts in relationship with Venus, transformed by Neptune, our throat chakra connected to Mercury, being transformed by Uranus. Uranus is connected to our crown chakra, Neptune to the eighth chakra, our connection with the oneness of all that is, and Pluto to that earth star chakra beneath our feet, guiding us to be deeply grounded and connected here with the earth, with our sacred embodiment, to be manifesting these new ways of being. Allow yourself at the time of this new moon and solar eclipse to be honoring this shamanic time, this liminal time, to be in the transition, in the mystery, in the not knowing, to know that this is the time to clear and release the out of balance patterns from the past, to be in the not knowing, to be in the time of healing, to trust that these energies are carrying us through this portal into new ways of being, into a rebirth as humanity. I had a dream last night in which I was flying, which I don't often do in my dreams. This was a very lucid dream, and I was flying through the air, and there were others flying close by. And we were moving into this portal, huge portal in rock, taking us through this canyon or through a mountain to another world, to a new dimension or a new way of being. And I remember being aware as we entered this entrance that the key was surrender and trust. Don't get caught in panic or fear. Rock walls were all around us as we were in this passageway. Don't get caught in fear. Be in the mystery. Be in the not knowing where you're headed or what will be on the other side. Trust and feel attuned to the winds, the currents, the energies, because if you can stay in tune with those energies, they will carry you through the portal. But if you get caught in fear or start resisting the process, you're likely to get out of balance and knock into a rock wall or get off course or get blocked and stopped by these rock barriers in this tunnel. The key is to trust, to know that we're being supported and carried by energies larger than ourselves, to attune to them, to trust them, to release the dense and heavy energy that would weigh us down or hold us back, to be open to being in this passageway, this birth canal, guiding us into a new birth, into a new earth. So do whatever meditation, whatever ceremony you need to do at the time of this new moon to be attuning to these energies, trusting in them, flying with them through this portal time, through this passageway into a new way of being. And then allow yourself moment by moment to integrate those energies of Virgo, to be in each present moment, manifesting what am I meant to do in this moment? To be in right relationship, right harmony, to be of service, to be emanating healing into the world, to be helping support the world in stopping the trauma and violence and discord, to wake up and come back into balance, to move into radically new ways of being. Thank you for being a part of this community, for the ways in which we are aligning with these energies, trusting them, flying through this passageway into a new birth, a new earth, a new way of being, into Homo Luminous ones. Blessings and love to all of you. Blessed be.